Hello everybody, it's SuffolkBlue, all the way from merry old England. How the devil are you? I hope you are well. Welcome back to another Blood Bowl. It's another Saturday, so it's another match. And if you remember last time, we did complete our cup. We got our clean cup. Now I have a little confession for you. I'm having to dub this audio on after the event, because my mute button on my headphones was on. So I'm having to do this whole commentary again, sort of all over again. So I have to try and remember how I played this game. We're actually going to be playing some elves in a second, and I'll show you that when they come up. I hope you're all feeling really well. I hope you're feeling really good. We won the clean cup. We're in the new map. I can't even remember what the cup is called that we're playing now. My memory does not help. We've got a fan factor of 5 now, though. And obviously we've got no cheerleaders, no assistant coaches. We haven't got any money really, only 39,000 gold. So we're just going to go straight on. We're going to be playing the Pinkfoot Panthers, who are a halfling team, or the Surfriders, who are a high sea elf Surfriders, I think. The high sea surfers, that's what they're called. You see, I'm trying to talk between the two here. I have no idea what I did. There we go, we clicked the button. It's going to be a home team. We get a little bit of money, only 50,000 gold pieces, because they're only a little bit better than us. It's difficult to know what to buy when you only have so little money, because you can't have any extra team rerolls. That's going to cost you 100,000 gold to get. We can't get a wizard. That's going to cost us 150,000. So cheering fans, which is good if you only want to have scrolls. That's 20,000. We don't have any scrolls. Rising fans, if you want to take away their cheering fans, doesn't seem any point. So you're sort of a little bit stuck. You can't afford very much, but we can do a bit of training, which I've never done before on any of the previous matches. What we do is we pick a player, and it can be any one of our players, any one of our active players. So on this occasion, I decide that I'm going to pick our star player, Camden, who there he is wearing all his wonderful garb. And then I decide, no, I'm going to pick me, because if I injure anyone, I want to injure me. I pick that I'm going to do normal, and I'm going to try and boost my agility, and I'm going to do normal, light activity, and then I think, no, let's do moderate. So we're going to do normal, moderate activity. We're going to start the training, and our idea is to try and get to the end without killing ourselves. Didn't do very well. Only got a 16.38% chance of gaining that 1 point of agility for that match only. So didn't do, just didn't do very great on the whole roll there. Then we have a look again, and we're still trying to think. The only thing I can think of for 50,000 is the Bloodvisor Babe, so I'm going to pick those, take one of those, except see what the results are. And the results here actually show that Camden, with his new armour, managed to get +1 to strength. His armour is a percentage chance. It's not a guarantee. So all that armour he's wearing has given him a +1 to strength. That puts his strength at 4, I think, for this match, which is pretty good. But them on the other side, their player has managed to get an increase in movement allowance. The elves are high in agility. They're high dodge team. They are a bit of a pain. So here we go then. Loaded in. I've got a fan factor of 5. He's only got a fan factor of 2. 4 rerolls for us, 2 for him, 1 apothecary. We don't need one of those. And he has 3 cheerleaders, and we have none. Now, I think there might be something wrong with the game, a slight bug or something, because it's been picking Norska as our stadia for almost all of the games, apart from the very first game, which it picked the Dwarflands, but we're still in Norska, even for this one. So maybe there's a bug somewhere that's picked up and is causing some issues. I don't know, but definitely it's a problem. Well, they obviously lost the toss, so we get to choose. I'm going to choose to obviously receive, take the ball, and march down the field. Let's set up our players and get them ready to go. So we get our players in position. I'm going to move Camden at the back, ready to receive the ball for kickoff. We're going to keep our 3 mummies in the middle. I'm going to bring up our sides, our blitzers and our linemen up the sides, trying to punch our way through up the edges if we have to. And then we'll bring our other linemen up on the line of scrimmage at the front, just to cover those 2 elven linemen there. So we've got linemen in the middle against us, Digi in the centre. Let's see how we get on. Let's kick off the ball. We want the ball there, and go. They've kicked off. It's a high kick-off. That means that it allows a player of the receiving team to be placed underneath the ball, so let's do that. We'll take Camden, may as well. We'll place Camden under the ball, and he can catch that ball, hopefully. There's the catch. Fantastic. So he's caught the ball. What are you going to do with it now? Very difficult. Don't want to throw anything. We want to make some space so that we can try and get Camden up this field. One dice against these linemen. They're pretty strong. A couple of dice in the middle there where our mummies are stronger. Let's start off, I think, in the middle. We don't have blocks, so we want to re-roll that straight off the bat. They don't have dodge. One of the things that surprised me throughout this whole match was the fact that they did not have dodge. That seemed a bit strange. But well done, Res Evil fanboy. Smash collarbone straight off the bat. Fantastic. Suffolk, I'm going to do something. Again, you want to try and do as much damage with as many dice rolls as you can. And there's another one down. You push him backwards. And we won't follow up. We're going to keep that line firm in the centre at the moment. We're not following up because we don't want them getting around us. Another good knockdown there. Fantastic. Perfect tackle. Down he goes. All of these are one die, so again you have to weigh up the risks. At what point do you do this, and do you potentially lose a turnover on a single dice roll? And you think to yourself, well, what I might want to do is see if I can get the ball in a better position before I do that. Do the easy dice rolls first, and then take the more risky stuff, or decide to move the ball first and then take the more risky stuff. So we're going to take a bit of a pushback over here because we need to create some space around Camden if we can, whilst holding the line. Another good knockdown here from a risky rumble. Not going to follow up, hold the line. Camden still with the ball. Might throw the ball. This is when I start to think that I might have to throw this ball at some point. We have just got the accuracy skill. So I move up Camden to back up the crazy Afro, who does another great tackle. Who doesn't follow up. But we've now got a strong line there, but it is a very flat line, so that can cause us some problems. We're going to do a blitz potentially with Joe, or we could bring Joe up in support of the left-hand side. And I'm sort of thinking around here about how do I move this ball, because that's what I need to be able to do. So Pincushion could make a tackle with one. We could help with a bit of backup here from Joe, and we get that. We only get a pushback though. It's enough. And we do follow up on this side. But unfortunately, these L's have got sidestep, and that means they determine where they get pushed back to. That can be frustrating, because it leaves you open a little bit. 2 dice here. Another pushback. Some of them have, some of them don't. We hold the line firm, and then we do another 2 here. They haven't got dodge, and we manage to knock them down. And an injury. This is just a knockout. It's not badly hurt. No long-term effect. So their turn. They're going to come up and begin to create a bit of a wall around us, obviously. Luckily, Camden has the additional strength in this match, so it should give him some protection against some of these tackles. They will have to double man him if they want to get him down. They've only got strength of 3 mainly. He's got a strength of 4. But as you can see, there's lots of players beginning to form around him there. And they bring in even more, but they are really loading the whole of this field to the right-hand side, and that gave me an idea at this point. With him across to cover, but I do think to myself, well, it suddenly looks like the left-hand side of this field has become much weaker, and may allow me to take advantage of that. So we get that crazy Afro off his feet. First thing we do. The Res Evil fanboy. Does he make a tackle? He does. He's not just a pushback, but again, pushes him out of the tackle zone of Camden. We can follow up there as well. That creates a bit more space. We're creating space on the left. That's what we're attempting to do. So I'm going to move up onto the right-hand side to keep them locked in. And hopefully to support Camden if we need to, if he has to throw this ball. Another here. Res Evil is going to do another pushback here against this elf, and he does push him back. Again, he's got sidestep, so he chooses where he falls, but that's okay. Single dice rolls over on this side, which worries me, so I don't particularly necessarily want to do these dice rolls first. I might prefer to move the ball before I attempt the more risky side of stuff, bearing in mind that we have a high probability of a turnover if I throw the ball and we miss it. But I've got Joe over this side. Joe is the man with the short hands. Could I throw to Joe from Camden? It's possible. But I need to get him up the field. if I want to get him in any form of position. So we start by looking at making some double block rolls on this side with cardboard decoy. Again, just pushing him towards the end, towards the line, sideline, but not really doing an awful lot more. But then again, give us some space on the left. We do manage to get a knockdown here, though. Excellent. So just a knock over. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do here, and if my memory serves, all I kept thinking of is I need to get Joe up the field. So the only way of doing that is to do a single block here and hope for the best. We got a good result, so he's down at least. And he was injured. This is just an injury, I believe, not a knockout, not a big injury. So that does clear the whole of that line for us. The next thing is to move Joe up into a place where he can catch this ball and has got maximum distance that I think he's going to be able to use, really. And then we come to Camden. Camden has to make a throw. It's a 5+, sorry. He has got accurate though. So we think about it, and then we throw the ball. He makes the pass. The pass actually is off target. And accurate means it only bounces one of those dice rolls. But the ball is now free. So not a great throw, but it is up the field. It's on the wrong side for them, although he's able to get that ball and pick it up. And now they begin to bring in a bit of support around that player. Around they come. Again, see, a bit of a dodge. Thick skull there from Joe means that... not from Joe. But a thick skull there means that we weren't knocked out, which is useful. Oops, tried a little dodge there. They are very good at dodges, but when they don't always work. That's a problem for them. So he's pretty open, he's pretty exposed on this side. Our job really is to get that ball out whilst trying, if we can, to contain the fact that he can't throw the ball. That's the other important thing that mustn't happen. We don't want him getting downfield and being able to launch this pass, because that would cause us some problems. So we're looking at the areas of how far these guys can run and how close they can get to the ball. And then we make some decisions about how we're going to tackle it and how we're going to do this. So I decide to move cardboard decoy up, obviously, directly into his path downfield, so he can't just run through me. He's going to have to blitz block or do something to get me in the way. I'm going to move Joe down behind him, and then we're going to blitz from the side. And Evildoff manages that. Out goes the ball. Unfortunately, the ball passes directly to his player, which means that the ball has gone from one player to another player who's actually got better protection than the first player, so not brilliant. We push him back. We're not going to follow up. That leaves me open, though, to come in and create a bit of a box. Obviously can't blitz on this one, but I can at least get into tackle zones and try and create a little bit of mischief if we can. Camden's going to make a tackle, and then I think better of it. Instead, I bring up me to try and create a tackle zone around that player. Same thing again, checking nobody's downfield. No one's already got past me, so I don't need to necessarily block. But what I do think is that suddenly I get a bit nervous and I want to move somebody across the field. So I do that, and that crazy afro is going to come across into deep coverage on the left. A bit of a block going on over here. We've got block, he doesn't, so he can sit down. That's very useful. And that frees up another player on this side, which is Joe Dore, who I want to use to come round and just tighten up this edge just a little bit. We then use Camden to make the tackle in the middle, just to push back. But he does follow up, and that means we create another good firm line there, keeping his players on the wrong side of the field for them. Up gets their players then. Still got the ball. Good dodge, creating a bit of a cage around him, pushing back the mummy, pushing back, making a bit of space. That gives him a full stretch lead all the way down the field to run it, and he does. So that does mean that I get a bit pleased that I moved Crazy Afro across when I did, because otherwise we would be wide open for a touchdown on this side if we hadn't at least put somebody in the way. Tried to go for it then to make a tackle and failed. Not so good. So, first things first, we need to get people in his tackle zone so he can't score. That's the important thing. If that mummy wants to make the tackle, he's going to have to go for it to do that, and that causes some problems. everybody will have to go for it if they want to tackle. Instead, I'm just going to move some people up. I'm just going to get them into tackle zones to start with in my head. I want to create problems for him, but he doesn't have to go for it. He gets 2 dice. Let's blitz and take this ball out. And we do. He's got sidestep, so his body's going to go one way and the ball's going to sort of drop to the floor. And we're going to try and pick it up with a crazy afro. Thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it. And then we do it. The reason I had to think about it is that if it fails, it's sort of a turnover. And that's not necessarily where I want that ball to be a turnover, because he would have simply picked it up and run it in. So let's get pincushion on his feet. Bring up our mummies and begin to create a bit of damage on this side. We now need to create some holes to get that ball up the field, because now that we've got it, we've started in a worse position than we were before. So we want to clear the left-hand side of the field a little bit in order to be able to make it up the field. So we have a look at this and we think to ourselves, just a pushback, that's fine. And Digi is going to follow up. And that puts them in at least close together, which is quite useful. Joe is going to make the tackle, or Evildoff. We think about it. We decide that Evildoff is going to make the tackle. It's a good tackle. And he's going to follow up. It's difficult to remember what I was thinking when I was making some of these plays, even though it's been an hour ago since I recorded the video, because it moves so quickly as a game that you don't always sort of remember what you were thinking or saying at the time when you're doing it. And then we turn to the right hand side of the field, and I think I've got a lot of players over here. We could do a little bit of damage whilst we're over here and move some players across potentially to sort of get in the way. I'm thinking here that I could get Resident Evil Fanboy to go for it for one and get into his tackle zone, so that even if he does manage to get out, well, that was close, good job for the reroll. If he does manage to get out, we're still going to make a dodge, even though they are phenomenal at making dodges. You can sit down. And then we have a look at see what their ranges are. How close can they get? Where can we get these guys? We're going to back up that one there in case he gets up, so they've got somewhere to throw it. And then I think to myself, okay, Res Evil, I need you to go for it for one. It's a bit of a risk, but I need you in his tackle zone. So I take the risk. Will it pay off? Will it pay off? Yes, I knew it was going to, because I've already done this. We then have a look and see where else we can potentially get to in order to back up if we need to, but then I'm sort of concerned that I don't want to leave the right-hand side open, so we say that that is the end of our turn. His turn, what's he going to do? He's getting some people up at the top here. He's lost a lot of players. There's a lot of players off the field for him at the moment, which is problematic, I think. Good dodge out. He's coming down the field anyway. Tried to get another player out there, knocked him down. I'm going to try to dodge and it failed. So, we have a little look. We've still got the ball, and we can now need to try and make a decision about how we best move this ball out. We're going to try and push him backwards, or we're going to come down with cardboard decoy. What I need to do is free up the ball carrier. So I need to remember which ways I'm pushing him, but he does have sidestep, which is annoying, but he decides where he goes, and then we follow up. So a good stun there. So that crazy Afro is now free to run, and he's going to do so. We need to get him up the field, so off he goes. Not going for it at this stage. That's a mistake, which will come back to haunt me probably. But either way, it was a mistake. We probably should have gone for it. I'm going to bring up Resident Evil Fanboy in defence from the rear to protect against the dude that's running in the middle of the field, but then in order to also help with that, I bring me down into thick, heavy coverage, and I really try, and all I want to do is get directly in his path, like so. He now has to go around me twice, or not coming down and blitz me, whichever he wishes to do. We then look at creating a bit of a cage around the players, or do we go and try and help out elsewhere? 2 dice against that top guy. That would be good to remove him out of the way, but the main thing really is to get some protection around Cardboard Decoy, who has the ball at the moment. So we're protecting a little bit more from that guy. Some players on the floor there for him. Again, we want to clear the right hand side if we can, get a good space for him. Very good. And we'll follow up. Good, just a knockdown. So there you go, the whole of the right hand side is clear for us. We just need to run it up the field, really. Now we look at think what we're going to do with Digi. Where are we going to move Digi that's going to make him most useful to us? I decided that I want to close this bottom gap, so I moved Digi up to sort of block that in. And then I have to look at over here and think, what are we going to do over here? Good knockdown. Let's follow up. And then I can move up Risky Rumble to assist with the coverage of this player. And I move him so the player is pretty much contained. Double. Camden can make a tackle. And a good dodge. He doesn't have dodge, he's going to fall down, which is very good, very useful for us. So we're causing a lot of damage. This is pretty good for us. That leaves us one player who hasn't moved, but he's creating that cage at the top there, so we don't really need him to move. I could bring him down to sit as the nose guard, if you like, of that ball, but I'm not going to. Up they get. Let's see what they're going to do this time. So the blitz is coming around. He went straight around us. And it was successful, and he knocked the ball out. Although we didn't fall over, but he did manage to knock the ball out at least. Push the ball backwards, that's a problem. What do we do? Well, he didn't pick up the player at the bottom there. I can't remember whether he was stunned or not, but he didn't pick him up, which did surprise me at the time. What do we do? Well, we need to pick this ball up, knowing that we're not very good at picking up balls for like most of the time, apart from the ones with short hands. So I decided to create a bit of a cage around the ball, so if the ball comes loose, we get multiple chances of picking it up. In my head, I want to use the player in the backfield to pick up that ball, but I still want to carry on the pressure, so I look at some of the tackles that we can make elsewhere on the field, obviously discounting the more risky ones to start off with until we're sort of happier. So 2 dice either side on that side, 2 dice in the middle there, and then we've got the ball to deal with, and we've got him obviously that needs to be removed as well, really. So, cardboard decoy, are you going to come up and collect this ball? Or are we going to... Well, if we do that and he misses, it's a turnover. So do we want to do damage first and then try? This is the debate I was having. I decided to take some tackles. So we've got block he doesn't, which is useful, so he can sit down. Camdenboats on that lineman above him. We've got block he doesn't. So down he goes. This is good. So that whole right-hand side has now been knocked over. Central now. Let's see what we can do here. Nice clean knockout. Follow up. Keep that box nice and tight. Brings in more players to be on the tackle here. Just a push back. Thought about a reroll, decided against it. That does free up this player here, who could come down and do a blitz. And I decided to do that. Not sure why I decided to do that. I probably didn't need to, but it's okay. Boom, down he goes and knocked out, and he's on the wrong side anyway, which is fine. So then I come back to cardboard decoy at the bottom of the field, and I think to myself, well, I really need to get this ball now. This is the most risky pickup job of all, because if we don't pick it up, it's a turnover. But he does, he successfully picks it up. So that sort of puts me in a bit of a position, because I haven't really moved anyone. So I just do an end turn. Round 7 coming up. Up they get. Sort of just watching what they're trying to achieve. Their player in the backfield is coming. It's a long blitz. But he made it. And managed to knock him over. What an amazing blitz that was to come from all the way up the field. But we still have the ball. So our next job really is to make a pathway, clear a bit of space. We just need to clear a bit of space. So I have to think about it. Whatever we do, we've got to be careful of how we push them. But they do have sidestep, which causes us some problems sometimes. But that works for us. We'll push him that way. That frees up some players in a minute. And you'll see when I notice it, so I can come down and do a back blitz. With 3 dice, with Res Evil, who's going to make this move. Just to push back. Knock down, sorry. That's fine. And that now again has freed up cardboard decoy to run up the field, which I sort of think about doing straight away. But I want to create that edge, so I create a long line down here. We've both got block, so a pushback we'll have to do. In actual fact, I probably should have just done a block, because now he's out of the tackle zones. Not so clever. But I move cardboard decoy down the field, because I think to myself, I need to. Now, I could go for it, but I'm now starting to count, if you notice, that I'm sort of noticing, can I get to the end zone? Or can I not? And then I realise I'm probably going to have to go for it. So I decide to make that move last, most risky of the moves. Let's go back over and do some more damage with the less risky stuff. He doesn't have dodge, so he's going to fall over. And we can follow that up. Again, keeps it nice and tight. We move the other player, Risky Rumble, around the back to create additional support for Camden, who's doing the tackling on this side. Again, just a push back, but we'll follow up. keep pushing them back. That's the main thing. Keep them occupied, keep them on the floor. So Digi and Joe, let's have a look here. So just to push back there and we'll follow up. Again, that's freed up Digi now, who can actually come down into a tackle zone here. Quite useful, that. Very useful to Rit to sort of be able to achieve that. Next then we come back to Cardboard Decoy. His only role now is to run up the field. That's all he's got to do, and he's got to make 2 go for it. So let's hope he doesn't hit a 1. And he doesn't. So there we go, we've managed to come up the field, and I'm sort of trying to count now, and I think we should be okay, but we shall see whether that really is the case in a minute. His turn. Up they get. Pretty much contained them on this side. Doing a good job at the moment of keeping them entertained and out of my face. Good couple of dodges there. Puts them right away. Comes the blitz on this side. Oh, we've got block and he doesn't. So 2 block rolls and he goes down. That's very useful for us. We cannot reach the end zone. There we go. I've just worked it out. We cannot reach the end zone. However, Joe can. So in my head, I sort of need to get Joe into the end zone, and I'm going to need to hand this ball over to him. So many dice rolls here. There's bound to be something. But what could go wrong, right? So let's get up Ewaldorf. He's on the floor. And I'm sort of thinking now, well, I need to blitz. I need to obviously make some space around Cardboard to get him up the field. So Digi's going to come up the middle, and he's going to do that space for us. He's got block, we don't, so we have to re-roll. That works for us, a dodge, that's good. We're not going to follow up because we don't want to get in his way. Cardboard Decoy is now free. Every other dice roll now doesn't matter. The tackling on the right-hand side of the field doesn't matter. It becomes less important than what we're about to do. So I sort of think about it. I think, well, do I need to tackle them to actually get this ball in? I don't. What I need to do is I need Joe to get to the end zone, and I need to hand this ball over. So off goes Joe. He's got to go for it twice. Will he be able to do it? Once. Oh, fell over in the end zone. Not so good. So up he gets. They're sort of bringing players in. But because we've got Digimazter there, that should help them. Up comes the blitz. Oh, had to come from a very long way to make that blitz. And he's actually injured himself, I think. But it's half-time, ladies and gentlemen. Half-time. Quick look at there's High Elf cheerleaders there. Very nice. We don't have any cheerleaders, but we haven't got anyone seriously injured or knocked out. We've got people ready to come back in and play, which is very useful. For him, he's got a little bit more of a sad tale. He's got 2 serious injuries. 2 knocked out, one's about to return, and 2 in reserve. So it's 0-0. I think had I gone for a little bit more, had I left the ball with Camden, maybe we would have scored in the half. I don't know. It wasn't a brilliant half for me. I was expecting the Elves actually to be a lot more throwy and passy, but they're not really doing it this half. Okay, so we're preparing for kick-off. Our standard kick-off formation. Camden's got the ball to kick. We pick over here. Up the middle. Off it goes. It's another high kick, which allows them to play somebody under the ball, but it actually goes out of the field and gets us a touchback to that player. He's going to go and sort of pull back a little bit, which makes me immediately suspicious that he's going to throw this ball at some point. And sure enough, he begins to send players down the field to dodge past us, really, so that he can do a nice throw down. You can see that they start to load the left-hand side of the field. It starts to make me nervous. There's a push on that side. He can't throw it this half, though, because he's already finished his turn, so he's definitely not throwing it this turn. But he's making some preparations. Look at the middle of the field, just empty, as he pushes everything to the left. Knocks both of my coverage players to the left over. Unfortunately for him, though, he knocks himself out on the right-hand side. So he's left a huge raging gap in the middle of the field, which I can take advantage of, but I have got a left-hand side problem to deal with. Luckily, because of the bonehead and the thick skulls, no one's knocked out on that side, and we should be able to get them straight up. So I look at it and I think, okay, Cardboard Decoy, get up, and Ewaldorf, get up. I need you to stand on your own 2 feet and create a bit of space and blockage around that side. I then look at Pincushion and think, okay, well, what are we going to need to do here? We need to make some movement in the middle so that we can free up a passage to go down the field and score. So how are we going to do this? How's the best way? Getting Camden down there, can't get into his tackle zone without going for it twice. So no one can get really into his tackle zone without having to go for it at least once. So I decide to so I sort of decide, I'm trying to think what my movement was there, but I'm sort of trying to bolster the left-hand side up a little bit here, just fortify it, make it a bit stronger, and try and tackle them to contain them, to put them in a clump, is one of the things that I sort of start thinking that would be a good idea to do. We have left a bit of a gap in the middle of the field ourselves if we're not careful, but we start to take some of the dice rolls that we need to make. He actually sidesteps behind us. That annoyed me, because now he's behind my line, and I don't like that. So in order to counter that, I bring Jodor down to stand behind him. And then I think to myself, Crazy Afro, what are you going to do? Crazy would need to go for it twice to get there. Camden would need to go for it twice to get there. Let's knock out some of this middle way. We sort of need to knock him backwards, which is fine. We don't need to do much action. He's being knocked in the right direction at least. It does give a hole for Camden to run down. We're not going to blitz the ball carrier this turn though, so we do have a blitz to use if we want to. We'll decide to use it. Again, not good enough, so we must re-roll that. I need to make that blitz pay for us. There we go, that's what we wanted to do. Knock him backwards, and down he goes. Follow up. So we control the right and centre of this field now. Everything that they've got is on the left. So, what do we do? Well, Camden, I'm thinking I want to move him up to be in the way in case of a throw. He can go for it twice to get there if we need to. Or we just move him midfield in case there's a possible interception, bearing in mind he has already got a successful interception. Then I think, no, we'll bring him down to support on the left. I'll put a bit more coverage around here. And then I sit here and think, okay, well, we still need to put somebody in the way, so we're going to move that Crazy Afro. He needs to go for it twice. Can it work? It does. So now he's in his tackle zone. That's going to help slow him down a little bit. Now we can tackle this dude or push him back together so they're all starting to clump together. Makes it much easier to control with doing that. So we've completely contained his left-hand advance. We've opened up the middle though, but left a raging hole in the middle of the field. And then I become a bit concerned, is he going to take advantage of that? Very possible, and in fact, he does. But he does sort of leave it sort of half done. So he's knocked me out, that pushes us into the stands and we get beaten up by the crowd. That gives us a little bit of injury, just a knockout though, nothing serious. And he moves up the field to begin to form a cage, but knocks himself out in the process. Terrible move. I don't know why you would want to do that. I would never make that sort of... You wouldn't see me make that sort of crazy move like that. So, Res Evil Fanboy can actually do a good blitz on him, but I want to bring down... I can't quite see it, so I'm going to spin the camera around to do it, but I'm going to bring Crazy into support from behind in case the ball does come loose, and perhaps he can catch the ball. And I sit there thinking to myself, well, Res Evil is going to come over and do a blitz from this direction, so if we push him backwards at least, which we do, the ball's going to come out and go backwards hopefully rather than forwards, and hopefully land on the right hand side, and it does, which is the side where most of my players are. Now I'd really like Camden to get this ball, but unfortunately we've just blitzed and I've got a player standing right next to me that I can't do anything with. It's frustrating, but it is the way it is. So I start to think to myself, well, I don't want to let the left hand side collapse, but I need to strengthen the middle, and I need to get this ball which is in their half, and I need to score. So I sort of have a look at this and I think, how do I stop them getting the ball at least? Left hand side, I could move Camden out, he'll have to make a dodge to do it. I decide to deal with the player that's already over here that isn't falling over to at least clear me up in terms of all the tackle zones around here. And I decide to bring up some players and then realise I'm in a dodge zone against that same one that's annoying me. So Joe can get this ball. Excellent, let's do it. So Joe is another thrower. And he fails to pick it up. He's even got short hands. That's really unfortunate for us. I would have preferred to pick that ball up there because we'd probably have got to score the next turn. Up they get again. Across he comes. I get to pick a dice roll because I'm stronger, so just a pushback is fine for me. He determines the direction of that pushback, of course. Off they come. Off they come, and he picked up the ball. So now he has the ball, but he's in a bit of a vulnerable position. He's already wide open and in a tackle zone of mine, so he's pretty vulnerable. There's a blitz available here if I want to use it, but I don't. Instead, I move across one of my mummies to give me the extra dice roll. The main thing is to knock this ball out, and we achieve that. Where's the ball going to go? Luckily to the left, which is not where his players are, but it is where Camden is. So the next thing I need to do really is to make some space for Camden. We knock out this dude. We don't really need to do anything, we just need to push him out of the way, and that's exactly what we do. So I managed to push him backwards, which leaves us with Camden to come and pick this ball up, which hopefully he's going to be able to achieve. He also has short hands. And he does. He now has the ball, and I decide, well, actually, it's not good enough there. He needs to be pushed up even further. So we do that. We've got the ball. We put him in, starting a bit of a cage around him with some very strong players. I want to close the gap at the rear of Camden to keep him safer from people, but I want to be able to close the left-hand side as well, which is where the players are going to be coming from. So I do a diagonal block, a diagonal blocker. I've got lots of players over here that are sort of just floating about. I bring up some players into coverage on the right-hand side. I would have to make a dodge if I wanted to get there. That sort of concerns me. Instead, I'd much rather just knock him down, because if he's on the floor, he's not going to do anything. Doesn't work, sadly. We have to do a pushback, but that's okay. Separate those players out. Got a blitz here. If I wanted to, or a blitz at the top. And I'll try and work out a pathway if I can get around. I can't. I decide to make a block at the bottom. I don't know why I made this. It was a silly idea. We should have done the one at the top because he was closer to the ball than the other player. But even so, that leaves us with one very risky one dice roll if we want to take it. I think about it. Not really sure what I want to do. Think about it some more. Do I want to stand on that player? This is what I'm now thinking about. I could do a foul, a deliberate foul, but I don't. And the reason I decide not to do the deliberate foul is because there is a referee standing right, sort of to the right of me, so I don't do that. So instead I decide, let's do some tackling over here. Let's do what we can do in order to basically mean that they can't get to me, that's the point. Subjugate their players. Already starting to form around me, behind me. And you can see that they start to form their own sort of protected cage backwards, just to push back, but they're now in Camden's tackle zone again. So I'm going to have to somehow force them backwards. Sort of having a look at what we can do. Yeah, all of their players are now coming up. So Camden is exposed. We've got two players in his tackle zone. We need to move them, and then I'm sort of thinking we run out to the right, because there's nobody on the right hand side that would stop us. So we sort of want to push out, push up, and hopefully begin to push back. Thinking about moving and the middle to start with, potentially. Think about it. I do a lot of thinking about it. It's difficult. So now looking at this again, I wonder whether what I should have done is actually dodged Camden backwards and then just ran him to the right. But I didn't do that. Let's see what I did instead. So, Res Evil on the right hand side, and we decide to take out the middle one. We just did the pushback. We don't need to do anything else, so I don't want to lose this reroll because I may need it. So that's fine. That just pushes him out of Camden's way. That's the main thing. That's all we wanted to achieve. Camden could blitz and then run. And I decided that that's probably a better idea, actually, is to blitz first and then run up the field. So he still gets an attack, which has to be re-rolled because that's not nowhere near good enough. We have blocked, doesn't it? So we knock him down. Oh, and we managed to injure him. Really useful. It was just a badly hurt, no serious injury, but it was really useful, primarily because it now freed up that space, because if that body was lying there, we'd have to have gone around him. We didn't. Instead, we've got that route, but of course then I realised we'd be in the tackle zone of the other one, so I have to go around him anyway, and I run up the field. So we'll get Camden to about there. Again, I'm quite happy with Camden with the ball, because he's a stronger player than any of their players, so they have to double team him to get him down, otherwise I'm choosing the dice. So I bring up pincushion support from the rear. And then I think to myself, okay, what else can I do? Digimaster's too far away to be of any real use on that one. But instead we'll just do some pushbacks. We'll generally disrupt their lines and get them hopefully knocked over, because once they're knocked over they become more useful to us. Risky Rumble's going to come up and help block out a little bit of the left-hand side of Camden, which is very useful. Sort of wondering what I was going to do here. Jodor. Jodor's going to come up again and just extra coverage for the back of field. And looking at this, I sort of think, well, I'm going to need to bring somebody up to help block, maybe on the left. There's me, Suffolk Blues over here, so I could come up actually and stand there, which sort of puts me in a tackle zone of their player and helps to solidify that central line. And then I could close that line by doing either a bottom, closing at the bottom, which I could do, which I do. And that's sort of, it's difficult to know whether I wanted to do anything else. I decided to do a tackle in the middle. I probably didn't need to do that, and that was a bit risky, because had I pushed him back, he could have been pushed into Camden's tackle zone. But we knocked him out. That was the main thing. Very good. Not very much else to do. We could do another tackle at the bottom there. Got to dodge out of a tackle zone to be able to do it. Is it worth it? Yeah, we can give it a go. And we lose. Never mind. Turn 13 now. They sort of look like they've given up on getting the ball at this point. It's as if we're going to score, so they're not really going to do an awful lot with it. Oops, and that was a failed roll for him. Double skull, or single skull. So we now got Camden, can just run it in, and as always, I make a decision, do we have to do anything else before I run this ball in to waste time? Probably not worth it. Might as well just get this ball in and get the points, as it is 0-0. So Camden, off you go. There it is, touchdown. I think he looks excellent in that outfit. Get some more star player points for Camden. Have a little look at the field. So we've got one knocked out who's not coming back, and one who in reserve who is due to return. Whereas they've got 3 serious injuries, 5 knockouts, 3 returning, and no reserve. Kicking off again, same formation as before, no need to change that. We're going to kick it on the left-hand side where nobody is. And there was a riot. So what happened was, it depends which player turn number you're on, but essentially the referee let the clock run for a whole turn before letting the game continue. So essentially he's lost a turn. It's wasted some time for us, which is fine because we're leading. So I've got no problem with this kick-off at all. It's very useful for us. I think it helps a great deal. Excellent. So the ball goes sailing pretty much where I wanted it to be, but directly behind their player. But look at this! He decides not to collect the ball. And I'm stunned by this move. Until I see what he's going to do next, and then it sort of makes sense. Up comes his thrower, who has all the high movement and agility. He picks up that ball and decides that he's going to just hang back a little bit. Their other thrower tries to do lots of dodges down the field, and unfortunately for him doesn't make it. That's useful for me, as it tells me what his plan was. He wanted to move him down the field to throw it to him. So the next thing I decide that I need to do really is to, well, essentially I'm going to have to split the middle open, and I'm going to have to run up from the left and run up from the right and try and pincer him down. But whatever happens, that runner on the right hand side must be contained. He must not be able to get past us. So have a look at how I'm going to do this. I can move people down the field, I can get them in the sort of interception zone if we choose to throw. To start off with, where we need to block this side, we both have block, so we'll just knock him back. Sadly, he's got sidestep and he goes the wrong way and is now on the wrong side of me, and that annoys me again, because I would have preferred to keep him towards the sideline. But now I do at least get to knock him over. He again decides where he's going to land, and he's even worse now, he's on my side of the field, although he is at least on his own. I bring Phoenix down 1 to be in rear coverage, and I bring Camden, think about it, and I think, well, actually I'll take Camden all the way up the field so that he's got an interception, potential interception zone. Just put some pressure on their player, I suppose. Make them have to consider me and move around me if they need to. And then looking at that crazy afro and wondering what I'm going to do up here. Jodor can get into that player's tackle zone where 1 go for it. Could it blitz him if he goes for it twice? I don't know about that. That sort of makes me wonder whether that's worth doing. But in the meantime, I need to get on with the middle of the field. So luckily we have a reroll and we use it, and we try and essentially mess up the centre for them a little bit. I'm trying to work out the best way of pushing them to keep them clumped together as best I can. Oh, just a knockout, but that's fine. Just a pushback, which is annoying, but fine. So we've kept that straight line look. Had we have knocked him over, there would have been a straight line of them knocked over and us and still in the straight line. That's what I was aiming for there. Could do with the blitz here from that crazy afro on that edge if I wanted to, really to lock that down further. Sort of think about it, not really sure whether I want to do it or not. Jodor still could reach his tackle zone with just a single go for it. Nothing much to do on the right hand side, so I bring Joe across to help support that right hand side, keep that player under control, and then take the crazy afro to lock the edge of the centre. So the edge is now locked. That opens up the full left hand side of the field. I could do a blitz there, or just block up the back, so again just to lock it down that centre a bit more. And the last play of the game is to take Jodor and place him in the tackle zone of this one. We can't reach the tackle zone of the ball carrier, but at least we can here. We'll have to go for it though, so hopefully we don't roll a 1. And we don't. And there we go, we're in his tackle zone. That's sort of it for us. Turn 16 for him. Up they get. I'm wondering what they're going to do now. It's one of those moments where I'm not really sure what his move is. And he decides to take off left. Hard left. And look at the movement allowance. He has a movement of 9. Which is, pretty astonishing. But that does leave me very exposed on the left-hand side. He has a movement of 9, so with a go for it twice, I think he can reach the end zone. Again, he tried to move his player down the field on the right-hand side to throw to him if he needed to. Luckily, that dodge, again, lets him down. But I'm sort of thinking, well, what on earth do I do? Well, let's get up Jodor, so at least he's on his feet up there to help with this. And we need to sort of look at potentially getting me free to make a tackle on the left-hand side. So I hum and I ha, and I think about what I'm going to do. He definitely can reach the end zone. So I need to stop him. So, Resident Evil fanboy. Looking at the middle, just working out who's available, what the running spaces are. And how we can make sure that we don't end up with a situation where I've sort of accidentally let it happen without really thinking I was going to let it happen. Lots of counting goes on in this game. I count squares a lot. You can see me trying to work out the best routes available and how I can try and push him in the right direction. The last thing I want to do is push him towards the end zone, because that's an extra space that he gets, and he doesn't need to go for it for 1. So we don't want to do that. So we look at the backfield and we see what's going on in the backfield. Let's bring up some support, because we've got 3 players doing nothing. So let's bring them up to get maximum dice coverage against the ones that we really do need to knock this dude over. That's the only thing that's in my head, is that he really must be knocked over to free up the players on that side. So we get a 3 dice roll there. 2 there, 2 there. Thinking about it, and I decide that Camden can't blitz now because I've already moved him, so it's too late to declare the blitz. You have to declare it at the beginning. But luckily we get a double dodge and he goes over. And that's very helpful for us. Off he goes. So that now does free up Crazy Afro to at least get in the way. Now I have to make a decision. Am I going to blitz with the Crazy Afro, or am I just going to get in the way? And I sort of think about it that I could try to get him down to a level, a point, where he's going to be directly in the path of this runner. He'd have to go for it by 1 if I was going to do it. If I fail, I fall over, and if I fall over, he wins, because he should be able to make that go for it and get that ball in. So I'm sort of humming and ahhing about whether or not it's a good idea. Come down here. So he still has to go past us if he wants to be able to get that ball. I can go for it with Res Evil Fanboy. You knock out the middleman to take away that dodge that we don't want to make. So that clears up our tackle zones. I look to the right-hand side of the field to see what's happening. Not a lot. So we come back to me. I'm going to make this blitz. I have to go for it. But I sort of think, I keep feeling that I need to, but before I do that, is there anything else I want to do? Well, I'm going to just block up and sort of help contain the left-hand side, because ultimately I just want to make sure that nobody gets out that isn't supposed to get out. There we go. So again, we contain that runner. 2 dice roll here before I go for it, just a knockback. He's got sidestep. Really annoys me now. He's really on the wrong side of my players. Very, very frustrating. And I'm so annoyed and so angry and so upset that I immediately decide I could potentially run across with why I was thinking that, to run across with me and make the tackle. Instead I come back to the left and think, look, I've got a choice here. Take the ball, take the man. How do you do it? So I could do this, which will again just create additional blocking. And there I do that. So there we go. We create again, we just capture him around himself. I don't know why I even thought about making that tackle again, because he has sidestep. If I fail, he gets even closer. So instead I decide to go for it and make the tackle. Will it be successful? It is! Both of us get knocked down, but it's okay, because he doesn't have the ball either. End of match. End of match. At this point, I think I realised that my microphone has been on mute for the whole game. Oh, amazing. Astonishing. Well, we did it. We got to the end of the match. We won 1-0. Oh, so close and yet so far. Well, we still managed to beat the elves. We also managed to injure quite a lot of them. Let's go to the end of the match and see what we get for this. It's another win for us. Let's see how much money we get. Hopefully it's going to be a goodly amount. 40,000. Got a 3. Let's re-roll. Let's see what we get. We got a 50,000. That's good. Always do a re-roll if you get less than half, I think. Excellent. 26,000 spectators. Match rating 11 out of 20. We get another fan factor. New fan factor 6. Theirs is 2. Let's have a look at our tackle. 3 tackles, 4 knockouts, 4 casualties, 48 yards running, 6 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 catch, apparently, and 1 MVP. Obviously, we'll have a look at that. For them, they managed 1 tackle and 46 yards running. Everything else stopped. Let's look at the MVP, though. The MVP is Joe! Well done, Joe. Does that mean you got up a level yet? SPP is now 3. You get another one in level 3. Excellent. Some of your players have enough experience. Let's use it. Joe, you're going up a level. Move up a level. Category of skill, normal passing, mutation, no. Move up a level. Result, choose a skill. We're going to go for you for block, the same as we have the others. Very useful. So our throw bars now have block. That makes them far more deadly. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the new season and we've won our first game. We've seen the elves for the first time. New fan factor of 6. Treasury of 89,000. We're going to hold on to some of this money for now, although we may look at buying potentially some cheerleaders. How many can we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does it say how many? Is there a limit? 8 cheerleaders seems a bit much, doesn't it? Should we buy a couple? Let's buy 3. There we go. We've got some 3 new cheerleaders to take with us. Puts our team value up a little bit, but never mind. So there we go. Next time when we come back, we may very well be playing either the High Elves or the Halflings. So until next time, you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.